Hey, y'all, welcome back to a brand new year of Mountain Murders. It's 2025. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
Unfortunately, he's still here. How you doing, Dylan?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Happy New Year.
You know, I got a lot of hope for this year.
You do?
Yeah, I do.
Did you make any reservations?
I have a lot of
resolutions?
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't even know of a place that takes reservations. I'm just a regular guy. But no, I feel very resolute on many things. And here's what my reservation is going to be for the year. Okay? I'm going to try to be the best me, right? In all endeavors and everything that I do. And I'm going to strengthen the relationships I have with the people in my life that are special to me. And I'm going to live my best life. That's this year's.
Wow.
That's this year's reservation.
I had no idea that Tony Robbins was on the podcast. I'm already feeling uplifted.
Do you think I could start one of those things like he did, the motivational speaking, and talk to people and be like, look, you can do this, okay?
You're like the least motivated person I know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that someone of your caliber could be a motivational speaker.
I feel like I'm motivated in a gritty way. You know what I mean?
No,
yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
Like, I might not do the little things sometimes, but I will do the big things under the most extraordinary set of circumstances.
You don't take care of the big things.
No, that's not true. It's not true.
Very true.
I'm just a very gritty. I'm kind of like a L.A. noir movie, you know. Or a book, you know. I'm just very gritty, you know. This is what I'm going to be like for a year. So, this is 2025 Dylan.
Okay, my New Year's resolution is to try to be more tolerant of you, and not because I want to be nicer to you or something. It's mostly just for my own self-preservation, because you get on my nerves and you stress me out so bad that I need to take a break from that.
That's your New Year's reservation?
So I'm going to try to be more tolerant of you, which it really equates to I'm just going to ignore you so that my mental health is in a decent place.
See, I really feel like our resolutions are they actually work, because I'm going to try to be more me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to try to stand me more.
Yes.
So this is going to work.
This is how our marriage works, Dylan.
This is
how we've managed to keep together this whole time.
So, look, I got to say,
You always got something to say.
I wish the absolute very best for our patrons and our listeners this year. So,
to everyone.
To everyone. And even if you haven't heard this, even if you don't hear this, I still wish you the best.
I agree, Dylan.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of you out there in the world. I hope you fuck off.
Oh, well, no, you're on my fuck off and die list.
But there's only a couple.
They know who they are.
But there's only a couple. Yeah, they know who they are. And they're probably listening right now because they haters.
Yeah.
They're making that little Nellie Olson face with the nose all turned up listening.
Oh, man, Nellie Olson was a little old bitch.
Man, for those of us of a certain generation, I think Nellie Olson left a mark.
Yeah,
because we all knew a girl like Nellie Olson.
Yeah,
I had a Nellie Olson at my elementary school. She was something else.
Well,
just the quintessential mean girl.
I think that's why the characters were very relatable. And if you don't know, we're talking about Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, they know.
And she was just always trying to one up, and never want to see someone else happy.
Just a nasty little thing.
Just a nasty person.
The old-timey mean girl. Dylan, it is a brand new year. It's been a minute since we podcasted. It's been since last year.
It's been since last year.
Since we was podcasting.
That's right.
We have some crime news to discuss. Are you ready? First episode of the new year, and we're going to kick it off right.
Let's go. You know what? I feel like a brand new me to go along with this new year.
Now, Dylan, our top story. Police in Tennessee responded to a Wendy's parking lot to round up a different sort of baconator.
Oh, God.
A large pig.
There's a pig in the parking lot?
Okay, so Knoxville Police Department said on social media that officers were called to a Wendy's on North Broadway in Knoxville on a report of an apparently escaped pig. They arrived to find the animal running loose through the parking lot. Animal services officers with Young Williams Animal Center took control of the pig after it was captured. There is no information available on where the pig came from or how it managed to escape, but this pig was just running all around this Wendy's parking lot. Look at him. He's such a little fatty.
Oh my God, he's huge.
I love a little fat pig. I think they're so cute.
So he's just hanging. Maybe he was down there to get some payback, right?
The payback. Gosh, is he James Brown?
Yeah, he's down there to get some payback for his family being put on those Baconators.
The fact that this made news is awesome.
Yeah, you know, and I know there's a lot of serious things going on still, even though it's a new year. But you need a little bit of silly news sprinkled in, you know.
That's
here
not
and
silly.
there.
That's hard hitting news.
That's
right
hard
there.
copy type level.
This is hard hitting news.
I don't think it is, Heather. That's kind of like, you know, that's kind of a silly story when there's a pig running around a Wendy's parking lot.
Look, it's like that old phrase, there are no stupid questions.
Just stupid
There's
answers.
no stupid news, Dylan.
Okay.
All news is news.
But, you know,
It's news to me.
some of the stuff that makes into the news just blows me away. It just blows me away. I'm like, why are we talking about this? But
Maybe we don't know all the facts here. Maybe the pig is absconding from justice. Maybe it was on a crime spree.
Oh,
That's how it escaped.
he'd already carjacked
It
a
was
woman in
on
a Ford Escort.
Some kind of crime spree, carjacking, what have you, and it's at the Wendy's.
Okay.
Details will follow. We should know more about this pig's history at some other point.
Well, I think he's a mother porker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No piggity. Got to back it up. Now listen, the actual top story. This happened last night, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, around 3 a.m.
Well, I guess so. That was New Year's Day. I thought it was last night. At least 10 people were killed and dozens injured after a terrorist rammed a truck into crowds on the famed Bourbon Street in New Orleans before jumping out and shooting cops. This was just hours after the city rang in the New Year, according to officials.
That's terrible. And I really had a bad feeling. I just thought something might happen, I guess. I always do.
Well, that's been called an act of terrorism by the New Orleans mayor as well as the FBI. The unidentified driver, who police said was hell-bent on carnage, was shot and killed in a gun battle with law enforcement. According to the FBI, which was also investigating possibly improvised explosives left at the scene. 2 officers shot in the gun battle were listed in stable condition. So I've seen some photos from the scene here, Dylan, and it shows a white pickup truck with Texas plates crashing into a crane. There's some sort of black object attached to a flagpole at the back of the truck.
Okay.
The mass casualty incident unfolded at the intersection of Bourbon and Canal Streets in the French Quarter neighborhood around 3:15 a.m., close to where revelers had gathered to watch the New Year's Eve fireworks. And this was just hours before the highly anticipated Sugar Bowl college football playoff game.
Oh, and that was going to be in the Superdome, I guess, right?
10 people were killed and at least 35 others were hospitalized after the male driver intentionally drove through the barricades and plowed down the street at a very fast pace. He was trying to run over as many people as possible, according to witnesses. Again, law enforcement saying he was hell-bent on creating carnage and as much damage as possible.
Yeah, and I got to say, if you've never been to New Orleans, the streets down there are very tight.
They're narrow.
They're narrow, and there's not a whole lot. Most of the alleys and things like that are blocked off, like access to them for obvious reasons. You don't want drunk people around the back of your house or business. But there's really nowhere to go. So this would be a terrible situation to be involved in. Now I got some points to make about this.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it's something me and you discuss, and I just don't get it. So you know crowds are going to be in this area, right? People walking, pedestrians. Because it's typically not somewhere you drive anyway, right? I mean, you get around the edges of the French Quarter, and then you get out and walk, get dropped off or whatever. How did this guy get in there with a vehicle, right? I mean, this is a perfect target for this type of attack that we've seen, it's been seen worldwide, of a ramming attack or whatever.
According to eyewitnesses, metal barricades were not raised to prevent vehicle access.
That somebody dropped the ball. I mean, I don't know what to say. Somebody really fucked up, and it gave this person access to an area where he was able to carry this horrible thing out.
Well, again, Dylan, I'm not really sure how this happened, but if they didn't raise barricades, then this was preventable, and I just don't even know where to go from there.
Well, yeah, I don't know how you don't have cop cars nose to nose on every outlet street. I mean, I don't get how this happens. I really don't, because we, from experience, living in a small town, once we saw a couple of events, and that I think one of the most famous was that one at that parade,
the Christmas parade.
Was that Wisconsin?
I believe so.
That gentleman, that piece of shit, drove down down through there hitting people, trying to run kids over. I
just imagine when you said he was a piece of shit that he looks like Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo.
He wishes.
And he's wearing a Santa hat.
He's not that cool. He's not smogged out like Mr. Hanky.
He's a big turd driving a truck.
In our small town, whenever there was any event,
dude, they would block the fuck out of downtown.
Hey, look, you couldn't get a tank into that area.
No.
Right?
It was impassable.
Either end, huge trucks, the biggest truck available, be it a fire truck or a big sanitation truck, whatever, just a big honking truck.
Not to mention the barriers.
And stuff directing pedestrians through there so they can have access. And I thought they did a really good job, because I got to say, some people may say, oh gosh, and I wonder if they were concerned about the aesthetic there on Bourbon Street, or just making sure people could get in there easily and all that bullshit.
Well, sometimes, Dylan, I think it boils down to, I don't want to say it's like incompetence or laziness, but maybe people just taking for granted that, well, nothing major's happened in such a long time. Like, it's not a big deal if we don't put these up. It's sort of just maybe just not being proactive.
Yeah, I hate it. And I'm not
really
blaming
sad,
really, but I just...
Because these folks are just in town for festivities. There's music events, sports events. A witness named Kimberly Strickland, who was visiting from Mobile, Alabama to attend a concert with her husband, happened to be driving toward the intersection of Canal and Bourbon Street when the truck blasted through traffic. And she said, quote, "The guy in the pickup truck just punched the gas and mowed over the barricade and hit pedicab passengers. There were bodies and screams. You just can't unhear that. It was chaos and very, very scary. Once the truck stopped, the scene turned into pandemonium. There was like debris everywhere, and then people. It was just total chaos, according to the witnesses." Another witness named April McGee was lying in a hotel bed watching fireworks through the window of her room when she heard a noise that she thought was the grand finale, but then later realized what had actually happened.
It was a shootout.
So, gosh, can you imagine? I can't wrap my head around this.
No, it's terrible. And you have people there just trying to have a good time. And I'm sure, some were intoxicated. It's a spot where you're just kind of hanging out. You don't expect anything like this. And it's just such a terrible thing. And I'm kind of surprised, because we're not, I really do want to get more information. I'm sure maybe we'll get some. So here's the thing. It's whether or not they decide you need more information. It's almost depends on what they want to do with the spin of the story, right? That always dictates how much information we'll get on this, right? Because most times in an event like this, they're quick to say, oh, it's just a lone wolf, right? It was just he's just it was unhealthy guy. He's crazy. He's whatever. But this is being called a terrorist attack. So, but there were also improvised devices involved as well. And cops continue to search the area with drones, making sure there
they
are
had
no
a
more.
robot, like a robot dog out.
So I'm not sure what's going on.
I guess look up under the truck.
Yeah.
Some of the eyewitnesses said that metal barricades were not raised to prevent the vehicle access. The city has steel mechanical barricades, but they were not up and in position prior to this vehicle attack. A 15-year resident of New Orleans named Jimmy Cothran said the barricades were not up, period. He said, quote, "They had the flimsy orange ones that you could just push over with your finger. We actually thought it was kind of odd." These steel barricades were installed back in 2017 in the wake of the 2016 truck ramming attack in Nice, France, and various drunk driving crashes on Bourbon Street over the years. The barricades can be set out in a flat or raised position to allow or prevent vehicles from the area. One of the barricades is positioned at the intersection of Canal, a car-centric 4-lane thoroughfare, and Bourbon Street, which is the walkable street for pedestrian partiers. There were also multiple bollards every couple of blocks along Bourbon Street. So again, this resident, Mr. Cothran, said he believes the barricade could have minimized the scale of destruction. And the fact that they were never raised is how this guy was able to get down Bourbon Street so quickly and cause so much damage, because the other barricades past Canal and Bourbon Street, I guess, like if they'd put these up, he's saying this wouldn't have happened.
Wow.
Because they've got I guess he was saying a lot of the barricades, the truck couldn't get around because everything in New Orleans has a balcony, and all the balconies have poles, steel poles, and there's no way of getting around that. So if a barricade is up, that's a wrap. That's the end. You're not getting around.
Right. And even if
sidewalks or anything.
It sounds like even if the guy smashes into the barricade and isn't able to tear through it, it's going to warn people are going to get a warning, right? You're going to be like, what the fuck's that truck doing? You're right. You just can't just blast through there. So I don't know. It sounds like someone maybe dropped the ball. And I guess we'll maybe find out more to come. But, I mean, you got residents saying even they thought it was odd that the barricade wasn't up. So, I mean, you have it there. It's already installed. Why aren't you using it?
Well, it's a mass casualty event, which is just unimaginable. And witnesses are describing once more just the disturbing sight. There were corpses everywhere. People who were just described as being twisted up, crushed, victims with tire tracks across their backs, a small young child or young girl who had been earlier seen dancing in the street was completely flat in the middle of the street.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
No, that's a horrible. I mean, it's like fish in a barrel. I mean, it really is. It's just it's one of those things where someone attacks a group of people who are not expecting it, are not ready for it, and it's very cowardly. And I'm glad the piece of shit is dead, but I wish it had died a little slower.
I don't know. I just wonder why the barricades were not.
I just wonder why somebody wants to do something like this.
Well, that too.
To people who've not done it. You know what I mean? I don't get it. You're just wanting to attack a random group of strangers. I mean, how do you even think like that?
You make a valid point.
I don't even want to attack people I know.
We know you don't want to do a whole lot.
Well, that's a lot of effort.
See, exactly.
Attacking people.
No, it's scary. And, I mentioned this a few episodes ago. Just, nowadays there's certain activities that you in the past would have never considered the danger associated with it. Or, like going to the movies, and you never think like someone could come in here and shoot up the movie theater. But now that's a thought I have.
Or going to a Christmas parade.
Again,
in a million years, you never thought someone would intentionally drive through a parade to run over kids and, parents.
And New Orleans is such a party place. It's associated, of course, you've got Mardi Gras. I'm sure New Year's Eve is quite festive as well. But it's a place where people go to have a good time and party and not think about their daily lives and stresses. And you're just there having a good time visiting this fun city full of music and art and good food. And the last thing you're thinking as you're walking down Bourbon Street is someone's going to drive through here and kill me and everyone else.
See, that's the one thing, and I know I keep saying I can't believe this person even had access, and I don't know why the barricade wasn't up, but this is a world famous area, right? You can say Bourbon Street, probably in the darkest part of the world, and people are like, oh yeah, New Orleans, they know what you're talking about. So this is an iconic area, a symbol of partying, if you will, and history. It's not a soft. I mean, it's a known.
It's a huge part of
It's a
American
known
culture.
target. It's a known area. I mean, I put Bourbon Street up there with Times Square and all more famous places around the country. It's in the top 5, right? I mean, shit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, I don't know. It's crazy.
Well, you mentioned explosives, and the FBI has seized more than 150 explosives from Virginia in the largest cache in an agency's history.
Oh, my gosh.
A Virginia man is in custody after the FBI found a massive collection of explosives in his home. Brad Spafford of Smithfield, Virginia, was initially charged with having an unregistered rifle in his possession. When investigators carried out a search warrant on his property, they found a stockpile of more than 150 homemade improvised explosive devices assessed as pipe bombs. He was arrested on December 17th. Most of the explosives were found in a garage separate from the house. He also had a backpack in a bedroom. According to prosecutors, #No Lives Matter, an ideology that has historically promoted mass violence, self-harm, and animal abuse, was written on the outside of this backpack.
No lives matter. Wow.
Inside Spafford's freezer, investigators found a jar of HMTD, an explosive so delicate that the, quote, friction of temperature changes could cause it to explode, according to the label.
My God.
The label also read dangerous, do not touch, and it was stored just alongside some food items. Like, hey, honey, can you go get me that bag of peas? Mind the explosive device.
Mind the freezer explosives.
Yeah.
So what was this guy up to?
The guy had a wife and 2 kids in the house as well. So he's got these dangerous, destructive weapons, including grenades, HMTD, military-grade explosive C4. He had recipes in a notebook to build these devices. And also they found information that the suspect expressed support for political assassination, used photos of President Joe Biden for target practice, and had recently sought qualifications in sniper rifle shooting at a local range. Now, Spafford has no history of criminal activity or mental illness, substance abuse, nothing like that. But he became the subject of investigation after an undisclosed source told law enforcement about Spafford. Spafford had allegedly revealed to the source that he lost 3 fingers on his right hand while creating an explosive device.
So I just wonder what this guy was up to. Is he making these for other people? Is this his way of prepping when he thinks the government's going to kick his door down? He's going to blow everything up? And how can you have that kind of disregard for your own family?
It could be all of the above, Dylan. I'm not sure.
No, I'm glad they got a hold of this. I mean, honestly, this is one time I think the FBI actually did their damn job in a good way. And I'm glad they got control of these materials. And there's no telling what that was going to lead to. At the very least, certainly his family was very much in danger.
Well, that's the part that is so mind-blowing to me. I guess he truly is no lives matter, because not even the lives of the lives of his wife and children matter, right?
Yeah, apparently not.
But to have something so
volatile
and have it in a freezer in the family home
that could set off the rest of the explosives,
accessed by all members of the family.
What the hell?
That blows my mind.
Wow, literally. This is an explosive headline.
Wow.
I mean, I had to say it.
Dynamite commentary, Dylan.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
know-
So, what?
Nobel created dynamite. You know that, right?
Who?
Nobel.
Who's Nobel?
The guy who created dynamite. The one the prize is named for.
Is Nobel related to Yesbel?
Stop. Stop.
Jezebel?
He re-
Jezebel Nobel?
So many lives were given to dynamite just from its use and transport early on. He regretted ever having created it, even though it literally moved civilization forward through its uses in construction and war.
Yeah, it moved them forward when they got blown up and sent their left arm flying through the air 70 feet.
Hey, was that Jimmy's arm?
Moved him forward, all right.
Oh, show off. He's trying to get ahead of everybody.
Dylan. A Louisiana man has been arrested after allegedly crossing state lines to transport a teenager from Tennessee to his home for not good activities, according to police. 28-year-old Alexander Materne of St. Rose was charged with 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of a juvenile and 1 count of aggravated kidnapping of a child in
Is it Tanzania?
Y'all are going to judge me for this.
Tangipahoa?
Tangipahoa Parish, after allegedly traveling to pick the 14-year-old up. I mean, it just sounds kind of wild because apparently he just abandoned her in the woods. Like, he met her while playing a video game online. They made arrangements so he could pick her up and stay with him. He picked this female up from her house and brought her to his residence in St. Rose, where they allegedly engaged in sexual acts. The female then disclosed her age to the suspect.
Right.
Eventually, the two left his home, and he took her to a wooded area where he left her in a tent with food and water. Then he went to Jennings, Louisiana to celebrate Christmas with his family. The teen's family was able to track her down. So when they find her, she's just sort of been abandoned in the woods by this man in a tent. It's...
Look. Look.
Then he's going to go celebrate Christmas with his family.
So it was a 14-year-old?
A 14-year-old.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't care if they're lying about their age or any of that. You know this you're going to know. You're going to know when a 14-year-old is that they're probably not of age, right? Yeah. I mean, come on. And you're just going to now you live in the woods.
Well, it's a Christmas miracle, let's be honest. This girl was found safe.
Yeah, yeah.
Because this guy, he's obviously a super creep, but this really could have escalated. She could have lost her life.
She's lucky.
And then she's also lucky that they found her in this wooded area, because we know that Louisiana is full of
creatures.
I was going to say swamps.
Animals and
woods.
Dangerous conditions.
Creatures. Yes. Wild animals. And he's just going to leave her there?
So you didn't think maybe you should take her back near her house? It was good enough to go pick her up, right? Or go meet by. And this just shows the dangers.
Well, that's the other part. Are you just going to, yes, here, you're going to live in the woods now?
You live in the woods now. What a fucking idiot.
We're going to camp in this tent now.
You think that leaving this young girl out in the woods is the best option? Is the safe? Obviously, he doesn't care about her safety. And this just reiterates the dangers of meeting someone offline, man. This girl knows better than that shit. What is she doing? Because you're right. She's lucky to be alive.
She's very lucky to be alive. We've heard...
And I say lucky. She's already been...
multiple stories where this type of thing did not go well.
She's been groomed. She's been... I'm going to call it sexual assault at the very rate.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can call it statutory or whatever. Even if she claims she was making consenting, there's a reason we say kids can't consent, right?
She's a child.
Yeah, she's a child. She's someone's child. And the fact that she, was dumb enough to leave the safety of her home and go off with this fucking weirdo She cannot do that.
Well, you say that, but let's be honest. I mean, all kids do dumb things.
Well, no, I
Kids
know.
do dumb things.
No, I get it.
And it's because their brains aren't fully developed. They don't see cause and effect. They don't think of consequences.
You're right.
I mean, we see, kids do dumb shit all the time. You did dumb shit. I did dumb shit. It's just what level of dumb shit are you doing at that age?
Right.
But,
Or what you get caught doing.
But also, Dylan, I mean, if she's been groomed, she's been manipulated, we don't know her home situation. It's true. It's easy to see in a lot of these cases how victims are lured, minors are lured out of their home by predators. Because predators, they're fucking professionals, bro. They've been working at this shit for a while. They know what to say, how to manipulate, how to make someone feel special, important, all of that.
It's true.
So
valid points. They're valid points.
At the end of the day, let's not blame this young girl.
I didn't mean to say she was a dumb girl. She's lucky, and I'm just glad she's back with her family.
But we should all be warning our children not to engage with adults on the internet.
Well, yeah.
And I think a lot of parents in 2024, even though we know these things, are still not really monitoring what their children do online. And in their teenagers, they're kind of just allowed to be on the internet, freely, to see whatever. And, kids, like I said, we were all dumb kids. And kids are curious, and they're going to look up shit they're not supposed to. They're going to seek out things they're not supposed to. So even if you think, oh, my kid would never do that, your kid's probably doing it.
That's
because
true.
They mostly all are doing things they're not supposed to be doing.
And it really is
so
almost.
That's why you kind of have to even when they're teenagers and you think, oh, well, they're 16 years old. No, you should still be kind of monitoring what they do online just for their safety.
Trying to.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really is it's tough for the parents because.
It is tough.
Even if you, you almost can't completely restrict. It's going to be either they're going to use one of their friends' devices. All their friends have a device. Or they got multiple devices. They got shit you don't know about. They got programs you don't know about, apps you don't know about, And
kids are so much more savvy than we are now as adults, but they're just so much more savvy when it comes to technology. They can find their ways around even those apps that are supposed to block certain content.
Yeah, restrictions and all that.
Yeah. And I know it's difficult to monitor. I mean, I have tried and you can't always prevent your children from seeing inappropriate things or.
She tries to monitor me online, keep me safe.
I don't care what you look at.
She wants me to get kidnapped.
I don't care, bud. If somebody wants to groom you and they're going to come pick you up and take you to their tent in the woods, good riddance, bro.
I thought we was going on a camping trip.
That's one less person I have to clean up after.
That's not true.
That's one less pile of your shit that you've left in the house for me to pick up.
Oh my God, then payday roll around. She's like, where the hell's Dylan at? What the hell? Where's that check? And where's that fat boy at?
Yeah, okay. Well, then I'll leave and let's see how you do.
Well, no.
Then who's going to pay your rent, bud?
Well, then the rent day's going to roll around. I'm like, where the hell did Heather go?
Who's going to pay the rent? I know.
Heather, where are you?
Don't be acting like you pay everything.
I didn't say that. We pay it together.
You count on me just as much as I count on you.
Well, yeah.
But we're poor, so we cannot split up. We've had this conversation before.
It's a 50-50 relationship, people.
We're too poor to divorce.
You know you would miss me. Be honest. Tell the truth, right? Do that. Let that be your reservation in 2025. To be honest. Tell the truth about how you really feel about me.
What am I going to miss? Tell me.
Don't make me get my belly out.
Tell me. Well, I mean, you are pretty squeezy. And warm.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's going to keep?
And who will say dumb shit and entertain me constantly?
It's true.
Me with my mouth on the floor like, I can't even believe that's something that you just said.
Yeah. Who's going to do that, baby?
Did you really just ask me this question? What?
But me.
And then repeat, what is wrong with you about 10 times a day? You're right, Dylan. Who would give me such joy? All right. Let's talk about this, Dylan. Now, folks who listen to the podcast know that, we grew up in and around the Maggie Valley area. I grew up there. That's where my family lives. And the stomping ground, if you've ever been to Maggie, is a dance hall. It has been around for many a year.
Is it a dance hall?
It's a dance hall. People love to go. Tourists, visitors love to go to the stomping ground.
I've
because
never
you get
been
to
inside.
See some clogging, square dancing, some mountain folk dancing.
Some flat footing.
You're going to hear some good tunes.
You're going to hear a banjo or two.
A fiddle, some bluegrass, exactly. Well, a man was detained last Friday as a person of interest in a suspected arson of the stomping ground in Maggie, and he's now officially been charged. 44-year-old John Mark Evans was charged with burning an unoccupied commercial structure, and he's being held at the Haywood County Detention Center on a $150,000 bond. Now, a video from the scene of the fire showed a man with a beard wearing a black tank top throwing what appeared to be wood from his truck bed into the inferno. Evans was wearing a similar black tank top in his mugshot. And I always say you just can't go wrong with a man in a tank top.
Nah, a tank top, it just lets people know that you're here for a specific reason, you know?
I have certain feelings about men in tank tops.
You don't care for it.
I don't. I think there are only certain... It's one of those things that I only feel like there's maybe certain men who can pull off a tank top.
Okay.
But I don't feel like tank tops are for everyone.
You want to see my side boob in my tank top? You want me to start wearing the ones with the full waist cut out? You know, the full, where you're getting the air up in there?
I like the muscled tank.
Yeah, just
Look, I had this shirt that was like a muscle tank. Well, it was like kind of sleeveless, and it had and I bought it like that, you know, and it had like the big slits down the side. And this was some years ago, and I really loved the shirt, and I can't remember what it said on the front, but it was something kind of funny. Anywho, I remember wearing it once, and this person that I was somewhat involved with told me I looked like a wrestler, like a male wrestler from the 80s. And I was like, okay, it was kind of like insulting the way he said it. But then he was like, no, I meant it as a compliment. I'm like, yeah, okay. Fuck you.
Did he mean it as a compliment?
I don't know, but I wore the damn thing all the time after that.
You were like, oh, yeah.
Fuck you, brother.
Fuck you, brother.
Would you step into the Slim Jim?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, it's, gosh, what do they say? It's not what you say, it's how you say it. But in that case, that's what he said.
Cool. Why didn't you come? Yeah, I know you always wanted to do Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What are you, the Kool-Aid Man? Wonder if anybody has like a sexual fetish for the Kool-Aid Man. Like, I want you to bust up through the wall and be like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I want you to you're like role playing?
Yeah.
Bust through the wall and quench their thirst?
Like every time they hear a Kool-Aid Man, like, oh, yeah. Like sends a chill up their spine.
Oh, okay.
A sexy chill.
Yeah.
You think that's possible?
Possibly.
Hey, if anybody has got a Kool-Aid Man fetish out there, let me know.
Do people want you to drizzle Kool-Aid on them?
Okay, so back to tank top here. So burning an unoccupied commercial structure is a Class C felony in North Carolina and can carry a prison sentence anywhere from 15 months to 5 years. And this will all depend on his previous record and any aggravating factors. Now, he's never been convicted of a felony, but he does have several lower level misdemeanors over the past couple of years. Some of these charges include communicating threats, a couple of hit and runs, and failures to wear a seatbelt.
A couple of hit and runs? That's pretty serious, right?
Yeah. But there's really no motive here for why he set this building on fire.
Well, maybe there'll be more information and we'll see if I guess it doesn't matter. Right, that was someone else's property. It's fortunate that it was unoccupied.
Well, I guess the reason I'm curious about a motive is because it is kind of I don't know if I would call it a historical building.
Well, it's a staple of the community.
But it is yes, and it has been there for decades.
Everybody in Haywood County, whether you're into clogging or not,
you know the stomping
You know
ground.
where it's at. You've been by it.
Most visitors, folks who have vacationed in Maggie and or kind of around the area, have probably heard of the stomping ground. Again, it was like Ghost Town we talked about on our James Neal Tucker episode.
Right.
Like most folks who know Maggie Valley know Ghost Town. And most folks who know Maggie Valley know the stomping ground because it's just, such an iconic little piece of the town. So that's why I'm wondering why, what did stomping ground do to you, bud?
What did the stomping ground ever do to you?
What did it do to you?
Or your tank top?
Why are you mad at it?
It didn't get mustard on
You
that
out
tank
here
top.
getting to wear your tank top. Ain't nobody telling you otherwise, even if you look goofy.
So this dude's running around in a tank top in damn December. You know?
Tank top, man.
He gives no shits.
He gives no shits.
It's like shorts guy when it's 20 out.
Now, look, I wore shorts the other day.
Yeah, but it wasn't 20 out.
Well, it was chilly. But I'm also at an age where I just get real hot all of a sudden.
You're letting it air out, huh?
Yeah. No, I had to go to the airport. And I know it'd be like 20 billion degrees in there.
Oh, my God.
It's like the infernal hell pit.
Holiday Airport.
Oh, God, it's so hot.
That's not
And
anywhere
crowded.
I want to go.
And I did wear shorts. And you know what? I still burned up because it was hot as fuck in the airport. And I'm like, what are you doing to me? Dylan, as much as I don't want to talk about her, let's talk about her. Gypsy Rose Blanchard gave birth to her first child exactly 1 year after her prison release.
Oh.
The 33-year-old gave birth to her child, a daughter named Aurora Yerker. Or Erker. I think it's Erker. Aurora Erker. That doesn't really roll off the tongue.
Aurora Erker.
Aurora
Erker. Aurora Erker.
Say that 3 times fast.
Can't.
This was on December 28th in Louisiana. Ken Erker, her boyfriend, confirmed the news to TMZ on Wednesday. They say the baby is healthy and happy.
Good.
Blanchard welcomed her daughter exactly 1 year to the day of her prison release. As we all know, she served 7 years in prison for the second-degree murder of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard. She was released on parole. She announced back in July of 2023 that she was pregnant with Erker's child, just months after filing for divorce from her husband, Ryan Anderson, in April, whom she married in 2022 while serving her prison sentence. She posted paternity results to confirm that Erker was the baby daddy. Very classy.
This is
a lot of speculation surrounding the baby's paternity.
Look, this is all personal shit, guys. You don't have to show paternity results to TMZ, okay? I wonder how the dude she manipulated into killing her mama for is still in jail feels about all this. While she's out here living her best life.
I have come to really not enjoy Gypsy Rose or her content.
Yeah, I think people know that, and I think some people probably understand. I guess some people out there may be into it, but I think I don't like her.
She needs to get a job.
I think she is a manipulator.
Yes.
And I think what she could have handled that situation differently. I know she was young, but honestly, I don't think she was quite as, oh, poor her, as was led on in the beginning. I think she's quite a bit more devious than that, and I think she used that poor guy.
Well, I don't think we're hearing the end of her.
You know?
Sadly, I don't think this will be the end of her criminal history, but that's just my opinion.
All right.
We'll come back in 10 years and see.
Shots fired. You heard it here first on Mountain Murders podcast.
Gypsy Rose had a baby, and apparently her baby daddy, the paternity hasn't been established because she put it on social media.
I was worried
That's
about
how
that.
we know, yeah.
Because I didn't have any idea whose it was.
Gosh, I know.
I mean, that's between her and her vagina, guys. What are we talking about?
The fact that you feel like you need to defend yourself.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you want privacy and you don't want people speculating.
You
But you
don't.
put all of your business out there.
She doesn't want privacy.
No, she does not.
She's an attention. Let's just call her an attention-seeking individual.
Yes.
I'll clean it up.
Okay.
But we all know what that is.
I miss the days when people wrote their deepest thoughts in a diary. And sometimes I feel like we need to bring back public shaming.
For certain behaviors.
For certain behaviors.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Dylan, I feel like this is a guy who might be your spirit animal here.
Okay, let me hear about it.
Authorities arrested a 56-year-old man on suspicion of disrupting religious services at 2 local churches on Christmas Eve. Now, that's not why.
I was going to say I'd never.
Well, I know, but hear me out. According to the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Office, On December 24th, Thomas von Goetz first went to Holy Angels Catholic Church shortly after 5 p.m. during Mass. He allegedly walked toward the altar and dropped an onion in the aisle, disturbing the peace around the folks attending.
Wait, how? I mean, it's just wouldn't that make a lot thump on the carpet?
Yes, but just
It's an
hear me out.
onion.
An individual reportedly followed the suspect when he left to make sure, that he left the premises. Then he allegedly threw tangerines at them outside the church. Now, that's not the part that I feel like you're into, but maybe.
He's starting to win me over with the onions and the tangerine.
Later that evening, von Goetz entered St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church during midnight mass, where he allegedly poured whiskey into the holy water, which I feel like maybe you would be into, and he threatened to hurt parishioners.
Just the whiskey? That was the only part?
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to do any of the rest of that.
Well, you might if you've had enough whiskey.
I wouldn't pour whiskey out, except into my mouth.
So, according to the sheriff's office, church attendees escorted von Goetz out of the church, where he allegedly tried but failed to hit multiple people with the whiskey bottle. He has been charged with second-degree assault, disorderly conduct, defacing religious property, religious crime against a group. How is that a religious crime against a group?
You shouldn't have. Well, I'm sorry. You shouldn't have went and messed with a bunch of people in church,
You don't
bud.
throw tangerines at people in church?
No, God doesn't like that.
Obstructing a religious exercise, a threat of mass violence, and disturbing the peace. I don't know why. I guess I just thought the part where he poured the whiskey in the holy water, that might make you happy. Because
What was
Dylan's
this guy?
like, that he turned that water into whiskey. Woo!
Come on, they say they
It's a
ain't.
miracle.
What was this guy doing? What's his problem?
Drunk.
He's drunk.
Drunk.
They had to make a new batch of holy water too.
Drunk as hell.
What if a coven of vampires had come through town while they're having to make a new batch of holy water? This guy really put everyone at risk.
You make a valid point. You're always full of valid points.
Well, I think outside the box, you know?
Maybe he was just trying to live up the service a little bit.
Here's an onion
Here's an onion.
and some tangerines.
Here's some whiskey.
What? Those were his garnishes for the next level cocktails he was wanting everybody to make.
Maybe he was making craft cocktails.
Yeah.
Now, a 63-year-old man faces 50 years to life in prison for killing two best friends almost 4 decades ago and leaving their naked bodies in a remote area. The Alameda County District Attorney's Office announced December 20th that a jury found David Mish guilty on 2 counts of first-degree murder in connection with the deaths of Jennifer Dewey and Michelle Xavier. He is to be sentenced on January 21st of 2025. According to the Fremont Police Department in Fremont, California, on February 2nd, 1986, around 12:30 a.m., a motorcyclist driving on Mill Creek Road found the bodies of 18-year-old Xavier and 20-year-old Dewey, called law enforcement afterwards. The victims had been shot and stabbed hours before discovery. Police said Xavier and Dewey went to a birthday dinner for a relative earlier that evening and were last seen around 8 p.m. at a convenience store. Xavier's vehicle was reportedly found 6 miles from the crime scene in a shopping center parking lot, but the victim's other personal belongings were not located. Investigators identified several people of interest at the time, but detectives later ruled most of them out, and the case went cold. Now, in 2016, police created a position in the Crimes Against Persons Unit to solve cold cases. According to the prosecutors, officials found DNA under Dewey's nails in 2001 and confirmed that it belonged to Mish. In 2003, while serving a life sentence for killing someone in 1989, Mish reportedly called police and said he had seen the 2 young women being kidnapped at gunpoint and that he tried to save them. And that was his explanation for the presence of DNA under the victim's nails.
Right.
So he's been charged 32 years after murdering these 2 young women. And he was found guilty by a jury 4 years later. And again, he will be sentenced in January. So cold case solved.
Damn.
I always like to hear when cold cases are solved.
32 years later.
It's a long time for this family to wait for these families to wait for justice, but at least they have some closure now.
Yeah. Hopefully the sentencing goes off without a hitch and this person gets to spend the rest of their life in jail, right?
Always a good thing when they solve a cold case, and I get really excited when we start talking about DNA technology,
Yeah.
genealogy,
Yeah. I can see
familial DNA.
That's right.
Solving cases.
Say it again.
Which brings us to our final story out of Columbus, Ohio, Dylan. A man who was shot dead last month as authorities attempted to serve an indictment on federal gun charges has been identified as the killer of an 18-year-old woman, an Ohio woman, that has been unsolved for 43 years.
Damn.
The cold case of Deborah Lee Miller, a local waitress beaten to death with an oven grate in her apartment back on April 29th of 1981, was reopened in 2021 to account for advances in DNA technology and forensic investigative techniques. But Dylan, the strange part of this case is that over the years, there was some suspicious deaths in the area during the 1980s that have been examined for links to police officers. And as it turns out, the victim Miller had written in her diary that she had sexual relations with several officers who were on the police force in this town. And there are some other issues where it looks like a patrolman had an ex-wife who died, and there were some irregularities in the investigation.
Damn, what's going on down there?
There was some police corruption, it sounds like, going on. But moving forward, they were able to get this DNA retested and link Vanist in the case. He had been living in Canton, Ohio, which is about 100 miles east of Mansfield. And he was re-interviewed at the time they did this DNA retesting, which was in 2021, about Miller's death. He did admit that he lied to investigators back in 1981. And investigators sensed this time that he was trying to create an alibi to account for the DNA being present in her apartment. They tried to get a second interview in April of 2024, but Vanist refused to speak and requested an attorney. He subsequently sold his house in Canton, bought a pickup truck and trailer, and fled to West Virginia. He left behind firearms in his Canton home and was stopped in West Virginia with 2 more. He was arrested on state charges and released on bond. Later, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives took over the case and later indicted him on federal gun charges. So on November 18th, U.S. Marshals and Canton area SWAT officers attempted to serve Vanist with the indictment at a North Canton motel where he was holed up. It just gets stranger and stranger, right?
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
So anyway, they've been able to, get this guy, but then he gets involved in a shootout at this motel with SWAT team. He ends up being fatally shot.
But wait, there's more.
Yeah, it's kind of a wild... So it's like we finally catch him. We've got him holed up in this motel. We're about to make the arrest, and then he starts a gunfight.
Guess he wasn't going down without a fight.
Guess not. But at least the family now has some answers about what happened. 43 years is a long time.
Yeah, it's a lifetime.
To wait on this information.
Well, I'm glad they got some answers on that. And again,
DNA.
It's a good thing the guy's dead, I guess.
DNA is amazing. Don't commit crimes, you're going to get caught.
Yeah, it's true.
It's my advice.
It's the world we live in now.
Keep your nose clean.
Don't kill people.
Don't kill people.
I mean, it's that simple.
You can flip them off.
And don't take 14-year-olds from their home and leave them in tents in the woods.
You can think thoughts in your brain like this dumb motherfucker, but don't kill them.
Don't kill them.
You don't want to go to jail. You're too pretty for jail.
You don't want to kill them. You shouldn't kill a
and
human.
Don't leave 14-year-olds in the woods, Dylan.
That is my advice. If that's the one thing you take away from this week's episode, is this is our first episode of 2025.
Make a resolution.
Make a resolution.
Make a reservation this year.
To not...
No murders.
Don't kill anybody.
You're not going to kill anybody. And you're not going to abandon a minor in the woods.
After you've
sex
with them.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Do something productive.
Pay some taxes or some shit, Get a job.
Learn to watercolor paint.
Get Rosetta Stone and learn a new language or some shit.
You want to learn how to speak German?
It's funny because I think we've all been exposed to Rosetta Stone commercials on podcasts. I'm sure. if you listen to any amount of podcasts that's happened to you. And the reasoning.
And I'm also sold on apparently Better Health. What's the other one that I hear about 1,000,000 times?
But the reasoning for getting Rosetta Stone and learning a second language, I mean, you got the obvious ones. Okay, you got a family member who speaks another language, or you're going to move to another country, or, you know, even travel at length in another country. You might want to know how to speak it a little bit. But they're just like, and so you can listen to court records or that podcast in another language. I mean, they're just coming up with like extra reasons to learn another language, dude. I'm not trying to read court transcripts.
You can listen to Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah, in Romanian.
In Romanian.
Yeah, I mean, because I've been wanting to do that.
In Swahili.
Oh, my gosh. All right, so let's wrap this up, Heather. We got more work to do.
We do?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, you heard it from Dylan. He's got work to do.
Yeah, I got to see if the gym's open today. I don't think they are.
I think that's just an excuse.
No, I think they were closed on this New Year's Day.
You just don't want to go work out.
Man, you won't let people get a break, man. You
Me?
always want, yeah. You want the people down there at the gym waiting for you to maybe come by or maybe not come by. I hope they're celebrating with their family, so I don't have to go.
Well, I pay the Deb membership. I'd like to use it, Dylan.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I pay money. I want them to be open.
All
especially
right.
when they tout 24-hour fitness.
This is one of the reasons you went with them, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so
even though that's not exactly accurate all the time.
It's not accurate at all?
No. But thanks, guys. All right, Dylan. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, and Happy New Year to everyone out there.
Bye.
Bye.